Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope and pray that you're all doing fine. A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi ashabi ajma'in tasliman kathiran kathira. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. The praise is for Allah. We do praise Him and seek His help and seek His forgiveness. And we seek Allah's refuge from the evils of our desires. Whomsoever Allah gives guidance, none can mislead him, and whomsoever Allah misleads, none can guide him. And I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship other than Allah, and that Muhammad is his servant and the last messenger. Allah sent him in truthfulness as a giver of glad tidings and warner ahead of the day of judgment. May Allah send mercy on him, on his household and his companion radiallahu anhum. We pray to Allah to include ourselves among those who are obedient to him and to his messenger. And we seek Allah's pleasure and refrain from his displeasure. Beware, this world is undoubtedly a casual abode, and both of the evildoers and the virtuous earn from this very place in the given amount of time. Beware, this world will end, and then the hereafter is sure to come, in which the mighty King will deliver the judgment. And undoubtedly the entire well-being is in paradise, and the entire evil is in hellfire. Thus, beware and do actions fearing Allah, and be aware of the fact that you will be presented to Him on the basis of your actions. Anyone who does a smaller good shall see it, and so whosoever does a smaller evil shall also see it. All of you will be assembled on the day of judgment before Allah in bare person. Thus we seek respect in the life after death. And undoubtedly is the fact that myself and yourselves too are approaching fast our end in this worldly life. A moment passed by is putting us closer to our final destination through other phases of life. So inshallah, today's topic about again the preparation of Ramadan. We are just a day or two from Ramadan, depending on the Hilal sighting. Ubadah bin Samit radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah one day said, when Ramadan had drawn nearer, he said, the month of Ramadan, the month of blessings has come to you, wherein Allah turns towards you and sends down to you His special mercy, forgives your faults, accepts prayers, looks at your competition for the greatest good, and boasts to the angels over you. So how show unto Allah righteousness from yourselves? For verily the most pitiable and unfortunate one is who is deprived of Allah's mercy in this month. This hadith in Tabrani. So it depends what you do. The doors are wide open, and if you don't take advantage of this, you are to blame yourself. You are, Allah Rasulullah says, you are pitiable and unfortunate. That means, what it means is hellfire. If you just treat this month as any other month, that's what you are ending up with. So, as the most blessed month of Ramadan approaches, many people commence their preparation. Some businesses prepare themselves by stocking themselves for the bumper sales. As people start doing their Ramadan shopping, others prepare for the hordes of people who will flock to their stores in Ramadan for Eid shopping. Housewives begin stocking their freezers in advance with the Ramadan dishes. When Ramadan arrives in some quarters, people will welcome this blessed month with some programs of recitation of Quran, talks, and such. Nevertheless, though stocking one's businesses or freezers in moderation is totally permissible, it really but has no real link to the true preparation of Ramadan. Ramadan is a month for devoting oneself to the worship of Allah Azza wa Jal more than at any other time. It's a time for charging the batteries of Iman to a peak. It's a time to develop the noble qualities of patience, sabr, and kindness towards one fellow being. Ramadan is a gift to cherish, to treasure, to value, and an absolute boon and blessings to the Ummah of Rasulullah Sallam from Allah Azza wa Jal. Thus, the true preparation for Ramadan must be in that line, which will enable one to derive the maximum benefit from this month to build one's akhirah. So you have to program yourself. Nothing works without planning and programming. If you're just flowing around, you just flow around, you float. If you want to get a benefit, you have to program yourself like you do it for anything else. In order to prepare for Ramadan, one should make proper program as to how one will spend this month. There will be those fortunate ones who will manage to free themselves from all worldly activities and devote the entire month of Ramadan for Deen. Such people should be extremely grateful to Allah Ta'ala for this favor, and hence they should make the best use of every moment fruitfully. Firstly, when you program yourself, one should look at one's daily program and determine which worldly activities could be totally given up in this month. Such must be completely avoided. There will be some in everybody's life. If something can be certainly postponed after Ramadan, it should be. This is the second. Second point is, decide what of your activities can be scaled down. For example, one may decide to reopen the business half an hour later in the afternoon and take some rest at that time for the recitation of the Quran. This will not affect one's sustenance or risk, which is already fixed. In no ayah of Quran or in any hadith has it been mentioned that one will only be granted risk or sustenance if one works from 8 to 5. Rather, if one works from 9 to 4, in order to devote the rest of the time for Deen, Allah Ta'ala will grant this person much more barakah in that time. There are people in the community, they don't even come to Jummah Salah because they think their risk will be shut off. Their shops are open. They don't come, and their names will be Muhammad. This is the behavior of Muslims today. They are scared to shut up the store for 1 hour. They know the hadith, they know the Quran, they can quote you. But besides that point, besides this, while one is busy in one's daily activities, one could also at the same time be engaged in dhikr and istighfar. The bottom line is that one should prepare for Ramadan by planning one's time in advance. You're just a few hours left to prepare if you haven't prepared yourself. Now what about the employers? I just told, people have business, Muslim people, they don't come to Jummah Salah. They are scared that the risk will be snatched off. Na'uz billah, this is not iman. It's no tawakkul in Allah Azza wa Jal. So there are employers, the Muslim employers should attempt to make some concessions for their Muslim staff in this month and encourage them to use that time for deen. To whatever extent possible, their workload should also be decreased. The above pertains to postponing or scaling down worldly activities, which is permissible so that one could devote more time to deen. Generally, most people do engage in such ibadah in this month. Besides the 5 salah, which is obviously compulsory and obligatory, for brothers, there is no excuse not to pray in the masjid. That's the sunnah of Rasulullah. So you dash it, that's fine. You have to pay it back. So compulsory, obligatory salah has to be done in the masjid. Many, apart from discharging the duties of obligatory salah, also engage in nafil salah, in tilawat al-Quran, zikr, sadaqah, charity and such. This is indeed wonderful, alhamdulillah, and should be increased as much as possible. However, more important than this is absolutely refraining from all sins at every single moment of the time. Often, what happens in order to pass time or kill time, people engage in chatting, even in the month of Ramadan. You're not even supposed to do it in other times, but you do it also in Ramadan. This chatter, more often than not, involves one in ghiba, backbiting, a sin that has been described as worse than zina, fornication and adultery in a hadith. So, what type of fast is this? That a person refrains from lawful relationship with one's spouse during the time of fasting, but engages in an act which is worse than zina, adultery, fornication. He refrains from eating the halal flesh of permissible animals, but eats the haram flesh of fellow brother. What type of fast is this? Now what about you have been blessed to do whatever you do the best in Ramadan, then at the same time you ruin all the blessings. What I mean by this is, many people piously comment, in Ramadan I only watch the news. Can one ever avoid zina of the eyes and of the ears when watching anything on the shaitan box. What is earned by fasting is ruined by the news. The month of Ramadan is also not for wasting on sports grounds, whatever, whether playing or spectating. Similarly, it's not a month on pastime, kill time, touring or going aimless drives just to pass the time. By means of these things, we end up ruining the blessings of great Ramadan. Now, what are the virtues of Ramadan, which I just mentioned last week? The preparation of Ramadan must commence now. It's already too late. You are not in the masjid for congregation salah, so what type of preparation is this? You are not in Fajr salah, you are not in Isha salah. When Allah says if you pray Fajr and Isha in masjid, your whole night will be taken to ibadah. You don't care. I don't just want it. I just want to do what my nafs says. I have this problem, my finger is paining. This sort of excuse doesn't work, brothers. Wake up. You are fooling yourself. My finger is paining, so I can't come to the masjid. Anyway, the preparation of Ramadan is overdue now. It has to be done now, right now, with the correct concept of this gift of Allah Azza wa Jal in mind, and with the true perspective of this treasure in one's heart. Your mind and heart should be tuned. If you just do limb activities, stop eating and drinking, it's no Ramadan. Become fully acquainted with the extensive guidance that Rasulullah has given us in this regard of Ramadan. Immediately. Choose an appropriate time when the entire family can sit together and have this read out to them daily, at least 10 minutes. Do not regard this as insignificant. Go ahead, try it out, and notice the difference. To read it to one's family is extremely important so that they too could become prepared for Ramadan. You are so busy with your kids teaching secular knowledge, you have no respect for Masjid, Ramadan, whatever. It's just side by business. You don't know that is not the case. So you have no respect for Masjid, no respect for Salah, no respect for Fajr, Salah, Isha, whatever. Secular knowledge, secular life, getting more car, more house is what is more important. I'm not trying to say you should not do it, but I'm just trying to put the things in perspective, which is our priorities. May Allah Ta'ala enable us to use every moment of this month coming fruitfully and make us among those who earn the proclamation of His forgiveness on the day of Eid coming after the Ramadan. Now, let me talk about the Taraweeh prayer. How many rakah? Until approximately 2 centuries ago, there were no two answers to this question. Every person until that time unanimously agreed that it was 20 rakah. Around the 12th century, a group of people calling itself Ahl al-Hadith, as if we don't follow Hadith, emerged and began propagating the fallacy that Taraweeh is only 8 rakah. The reality, however, is that 20 rakah of Taraweeh prayer is Sunnah al-Muakkada. You know, Sunnah al-Muakkada is a greatly stressed Sunnah, and deliberate omission of which is a sin. And then you start the Salah with the Imam, and you just leave the Imam and walk out. That's no Imam. and Quran is recited, in the month of Quran you dash out. I don't want to listen to the rest of the Quran. I'm done. More sujoods have been given to get more closer to Allah. You don't care. I am going to do whatever. I'm going to sleep or watch television. All sorts of nonsense. People walk out 8 rakah. Half the masjid is empty. Now, at the same point, all are unanimous about the 20 rakah. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Tarawih Salah was performed individually and in smaller groups. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stressed his performance but did not perform it with the congregations because he feared that it may become a fard, obligatory salah, upon the ummah. In one narration, it is nevertheless mentioned that Rasulullah performed 20 rakah of Tarawih and the Witr in Ramadan. This is in Bayhaqi. So this practice of performing the Tarawih individually and in smaller groups continued in the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and the initial years of the Khilafah of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. Thereafter, Umar radiallahu anhu appointed Ubay bin Ka'b radiallahu anhu as the Imam and gathered everybody in one Jama behind him for the full 20 rakah of Tarawih Salah. At that time, there were numerous Sahaba radiallahu anhum present. All of them agreed on this decision of Umar of 20 rakah. If this decision was contrary to Deen, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum would have never tolerated it and cut it down to 8. They did not do it. So their consensus on this matter is itself a Shari'i proof of 20 rakah being the Sunnah. A number of narrations mention the performance of 20 rakah by Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Therefore, we find that the 4 great Imams of 4 madahib, the schools of Islamic jurisprudence, despite a number of minor differences among them on the interpretations and applications of various aspects, are unanimous that Tarawih is 20 rakah. This is authentically recorded in their books. Now look at the Haramain Sharifain. The aspect of Tarawih being 20 rakah is really as clear as daylight. Therefore, one will find that in Haramain Sharifain, Makkatul Mukarramah and Madinatul Munawwara, up to this day, from the very day Umar started 20 rakah, is performed in Jama as 20 rakah, all along. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the Tabi'in, the Khulafa Rashidin, the Imams of the Fiqh, all the 4 Imams, and the entire Ummah, all along, all the centuries, with the exception of the so-called Ahl al-Hadith of recent times, has been unanimous on 20 rakah. So what is your decision now? Finally, In one hadith, Rasulullah is reported to have said, after me, there will be much differences. Hence, hold on to my sunnah, hold on to the sunnah of my rightly guided khulafa. 20 rakah of Taraweeh with Jama, with the Imam, was the sunnah of the rightly guided Khulafa Rashidin. And the Sahaba, and the Tabi'in, and the Tabi' Tabi'in, and all the 4 Imams. In this latter day of differences which Rasulullah has already forecasted, the sunnah is distorted. So whom do you want to follow? You can decide, but you will be answerable for it. You want to cut corner, run away at 8 o'clock, you can do it. You can go at 4 o'clock, 2 rakas. You don't even have to come. It's a limited freedom of choice, but you will be answerable for it. So whom do you want to follow? Do you want to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah, sunnah of the Khulafa Rashidin, sunnah of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, sunnah of the Tabi'in, sunnah of the Khulafa Rashidin, or the 4 Imam, or the way of those who contradict them by 8 rakah? So you make the decision. You still want to walk out 8 rakah? It's up to you. You decide. Now, the other aspect I want to talk about is i'tikaf. In the last 10 days of Ramadan, somebody has to do in the masjid. If nobody does, all of you will be sinning in the month of Ramadan. You have all to do it, but if you're not doing, nobody is sitting here, you will all be sinning in the month of Ramadan. So do whatever you can do, at least sit 1 day, 2 day, or help facilitate the people sitting there. Just don't be indifferent. It's not a quality of Muslim to be indifferent. So the observation of i'tikaf during the last 10 days of Ramadan was a practice which our beloved Nabi Rasulullah observed assiduously throughout his life in Madinatul Munawwara. The devotion that our beloved Nabi attached to this beautiful sunnah can be understood by the fact that on one occasion when he was unable to sit in i'tikaf, not because of finger painting, that's what you excuse not to be in Fajr Salah, Isha Salah. He was not able to because of an expedition. So what he did, he sat for 20 days the following year. So that shows the importance of i'tikaf. You just don't care. Ramzan comes and goes, I don't really care. I just come for Jummah few minutes. That's all I can do. Sorry. Okay, fine. I can do that. Now, let me talk about Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. This is the crowning glory of this month. It is associated with sending down of the Quran, the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, the last book, on his last messenger, Sallallahu for the guidance of entire mankind. The Quran Majid describes this night. We have indeed revealed this message in the night of power. In Anzalna Laylatul Qadr. So you can read the Surah Al-Qadr, chapter 97, verse 1 to 5. The night of power is the night of spiritual bliss. Our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam reported to have said concerning it, verily this month has come to you, therein there is a night which is better than 1,000 months. Whosoever is deprived of it is deprived of all good. And none is deprived of its good except totally unfortunate person. So you have don't make any effort for Laylatul Qadr in Ramadan, you are belonging to this category. Totally unfortunate, deprived of all good. Then the hadith he says, whoever stands up in the prayer in the night of power, Laylatul Qadr, out of faith and hope of reward, all his past sins will be forgiven. So the balance is right and left. You pick up what you want to. Now, which night is it? I get a lot of phone calls around this end of the year, just as if I know the night of the. They just want me to tell, come pray few hours here, you will be guaranteed Jannah. I can't do it. But I get calls every year almost. So which night is it? Although there are different reports and different narrations and traditions and hadith regarding the exact night, it's almost unanimous that the blessed night occurs in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, more probably in the odd nights, 21, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. The popular opinion is, however, in favor of 27th night of Ramadan, but it's not absolutely certain. It was therefore the practice of Rasulullah and his companion and his family to make i'tikaf in the masjid. I'tikaf can't be done at home for the whole time of 10 nights, offering divine service during the last 10 days of Ramadan. 1,000 months means approximately 84 years. If you catch this night, you have prayed whole of your life. But for us, sleep is more important. Comfort, mattress, this matter, that matters. That's more important. Of course, this masjid is very comfortable. So what is the meaning of Ramadan? That is another messed up. Dawd, we say Ramazan. This is just messed up mentality. The language is so messed up. There is no such word Ramazan. It is Ramadan, Dawd. The fasting during month of Ramadan is ordained during the second year of Hijrah. Why not earlier? In Makkah, the economic conditions of the Muslims were bad. They were being persecuted. Often days would go by before they had anything to eat. So, it's easy to skip meals if you don't have any. Obviously, fasting would have been easier during the circumstances of Makkah. So why not then? Why Allah didn't legislate fasting earlier? Why in the second year of Hijrah? The answer may be that Ramadan is not only about skipping meals. While fasting is an integral and paramount part of it, Ramadan offers a comprehensive program for our spiritual overhaul. The entire program required the peace and the security that was offered in Medina. Yes, Ramadan, the most important month of the year, it is the month that the believers await with eagerness at the beginning of Rajab. 2 full months before Ramadan. Not like us. We are so slacky. Even in Shaban, our masjid is deserted. We are not eager. Prophet ﷺ used to supplicate when he saw the Hilal of Rajab, "Oh Allah, bless us during Rajab and Shaban and let us reach Ramadan." This is the only time he asks for prolongation of life. During Ramadan, the believers get busy seeking Allah's mercy, Allah's forgiveness and protection, Nijat from a hellfire. This is the month for renewing our commitment and re-establishing our relationship with our Creator. It is the spring season for goodness and virtues, when righteousness blossoms throughout the Muslim communities. If we combine all the blessings of the other 11 months, they would not add up to the blessings of Ramadan. every Muslim has an opportunity to strengthen his iman, his taqwa, purify his heart, his soul, and to remove the evil effects of the sins committed by him or her. A hadith on the merits of this month is well known. For example, Rasulullah said a hadith in Bukhari, Man thama Ramadan imanam wa ihsatabam faghfir lahu ma taqaddam min zambihi. He says, whoever fasts during Ramadan with purity of heart, belief, and with expectation of reward from Allah Azza wa Jal, will have his previous sins forgiven. Another hadith in Bukhari is saying, Man thama Ramadan imanam wa ihtisaban, is talking about here it's talk about fast. This hadith talks about qiyam, standing up, qiyamul layl. Whoever stands in prayer during the night of Ramadan with plenty of the purity of belief and expectation of reward from Allah Azza wa Jal, all his previous sins will be forgiven. But he had to stand in the way it has been established by Sunnah. You can't do it your way. Other hadiths tell us the reward of good deeds are multiplied many folds during Ramadan. A voluntary act is given the status of farad. A farad is given 70 to 700 times more. So if you come to salah in the masjid, you can imagine the reward is thousands and thousands and times more. Along with the possibility of a great reward, there is the risk of terrible loss if you neglect. If you let any other moment of the other month pass by, we just lost 1 month. If we do the same during Ramadan, we have lost everything. The person who misses just 1 day's fast during Ramadan without a Sharia legitimate exception can't make it up even if he fasts the entire life. So Rasulullah cursed a person who was so unfortunate, who finds the Ramadan in good health but does not use the opportunity to seek Allah's mercy. Rasulullah cursed this person 3 times. The one who does not fast is obviously out of this discussion. There are many modern Muslims don't fast. They say, I'm just going to pay money. There's no such thing as this. It was initially when the fasting was prescribed, but no such thing today. So, but we are talking about the people who fast, who pray, but makes no effort to stay away from the sins involving in alcohol, in gambling, in riba, interest, finance, mortgage. It's all haram and prohibited. Don't get any fatwa from him. You don't need fatwa. Quran is very clear about it. So fast, prays salah, and keeps on engaging in haram activities. So instead of attaining purity, taqwa, he continues to do what he wants. Stay away. So you have to stay away from sins. Get purity of heart through the numerous opportunity offered by Ramadan. Rasulullah warned us, there are those who get nothing from their fast but hunger and thirst. That's it. There are those who get nothing from their nightly prayers except loss of sleep. Those who understand this, for them Ramadan is indeed a very special month to change the direction of their life. In addition to fasting, mandatory salahs, extra tarawih salahs, they spend the whole month in acts of worship like voluntary salah, the tilawat al-Quran, azkar, charity, sadaqah, zakah, name it. You just come here like it is a clearance sale, take bargain. After Ramadan, you are not here again. You are here close by, you don't come to the masjid. You just did it in Ramadan, that's it. So don't bargain with Allah. You will fail. The moment he starts taking accountability, you will instantly fail. Ask for mercy. Don't bargain. ATM card. There's no ATM card here. So there are people who get benefit and stay on for the next 11 months till the next Ramadan comes. That is the purpose of Ramadan. There are tradition and pious people of the Ummah throughout the centuries. They have done it. And Like I told you last week, many recitation of the Quran, many times, apart from reciting in the Taraweeh prayers. They spent almost the entire night in prayers. They used to eat so little that one wondered how they could endure this. But we pump up our food. Iftar, we just like a war for us on the plates. This great valued month of Ramadan is, every moment is so pious and so full of blessings, one who should not waste it in any other pursuit. Watching them, the earlier people, made one believe the astounding stories of the ibadah, the devotion, because they believed in Akhirah. Their devotions is recorded in history. Since this emphasis on these acts of worship may sound strange to us, even misplaced to some of us, it requires some explanation. We know that the term ibadah, worship, obedience, in Islam applies not only to the formal acts of worship and devotion like the salah, reading of Quran and zikr, but it also applies to the worldly activities when we perform in obedience to the Sharia and with the intention of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal. Thus, a believer going to work is performing his ibadah. Even though he is going to work, he is performing ibadah when he seeks halal income to discharge his responsibility as a breadwinner for the family. Halal income. However, a distinction must be made between the two, the direct ibadah and the indirect ibadah. The direct ibadah, acts which are required on their own sake. The second category, the indirect ibadah, is also a great opportunity, but it depends on the intention and observation of the rules and regulations of the Quran and Sunnah. While the second category, the indirect ibadah, is important because it extends the idea of ibadah to our entire life. That's what Islam is. There is also a danger in this indirect ibadah because by their very nature, these acts can camouflage with other motives. Is my going to work really ibadah? Or I'm actually in the rat race to get more dollars, more house, more car, more this, more that. So it can put you in danger. Here, the direct ibadah comes to the rescue. Through them, we can purify our motives and re-establish our relationship with Allah with the proper niyyah. Islam does not approve monasticism. It does not ask us to permanently isolate ourselves from this world, since our test is living in this world here in accordance to the commands of Allah Azza wa Jalla, our Creator. But it does ask us to take periodic breaks from this world, periodic disattachment from this attachment we have got ourselves too much attached to. Like the mandatory Fard Salahs every day 5 times is one example. It detaches you from the attachment of the world. For a few minutes every so many hours throughout the day, we leave the affairs of this world and appear before Allah to remind ourselves that none but He is worthy of worship and of our unflattering obedience to Him. Likewise, Ramadan takes this to a next higher level, providing the intense training for 1 month so that we can stay on the track for the rest of the year. That is the purpose of Ramadan. Not just coming, take the clearance and disappear till the next Ramadan. That is cheating yourself. This spirit is captured in i'tikaf, which I just mentioned, a unique ibadah associated with Ramadan, in which a person gives up all his normal activities and enters a masjid for a specific period. There is great merit in it, and every Muslim community is encouraged to perform i'tikaf for the last 10 days of Ramadan, But even those who cannot spare 10 days are encouraged to do as much as they can in the masjid and facilitate those people who are sitting for i'tikaf. So through direct ibadah, we charge our batteries. The indirect ibadahs, we allow us to use the power in the batteries so accumulated in the driving of the vehicle of our life. Ramadan is the month for rebuilding our spiritual strength. How much we benefit from it is up to us, not to Allah Azza wa Jal. How much benefit you will get from this Ramadan is up to individually one of you. It comes and goes. It just passes away. It's no time. And you will be the loser if you have not utilized the opportunity which Allah has given you so gracefully. So inshallah, if you act on what I have just mentioned, you will be getting the maximum benefit from Ramadan, and you will be a better servant to Allah Azza wa Jal in servitude and in His submission, and better connected to Him in worship, which is a prerequisite of getting His pleasure and mercy, which is a prerequisite of entering Jannah. So the action plan, if you haven't already programmed yourself, start right now. Put up a timetable and do what you want to do. Set high goals, try to achieve at least some. You should be a different person coming from Ramadan, entering and exiting Ramadan. After Ramadan is gone, you are same, and you're waiting for next Ramadan to come to the masjid. Apart from Jummah, you have not benefited from Ramadan, and in fact, you have not fasted in Ramadan. Rasulullah cursed this type of people. So try to act, try to encourage others. That's an obligation for you now. We ask Allah to make us the followers of the Sunnah of Rasulullah, to make us live in Islam and die in the state of faith. May He help us to do that which He loves and which pleases Him. We ask Him to help us to remember Him and be thankful to Him, to worship Him properly, and also accept our good deeds, overlook our shortcomings, make this Ramadan the best Ramadan for us in the coming months. May He make us of those who are pious, who are fearful, at the same time will love to obey Him and get His pleasure. May Allah bless our Prophet ﷺ, his family, and his companions radhiyallahu anhum. Whatever I said correct is from Allah Azza wa Jal. If I erred, then it is from my nafs and shaitan. I ask forgiveness and repentance. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله ghafurur rahim.